Good morning. Oh. Getting a late start to work this morning. 10 minutes behind schedule, but that's okay. The main reason why I wanted to turn the camera on was to show you guys that the darkness is returning to Alaska. Just a few short weeks ago, this would have been a daylight drive for me. And as the day's starting to shorten up, the darkness starts to appear. About 10:30 at night now, we're starting to get dark again. And while it's dark right now on the way to work, it'll lighten up pretty quick. Might be able to catch an edge of the sunrise as we get to town here. I'll let you guys know. Got a busy weekend planned this weekend as far as work and as far as getting something installed that I've been waiting to get installed for 5 months. And it's been frustrating waiting, but I got the call last night that it's arrived. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make life a whole lot easier in the cabin. This is kind of a bittersweet weekend for me. In a good way. So, I made a purchase in March with a delivery date of 8 weeks, which should have made it in May by the time I got this thing. And there was nowhere to be found. So I went back into the orange store where I bought it and talked with the gal that's in charge of orders last month, beginning of the month of July. And she pulled it up on the computer, and GE hadn't even shipped it yet. So General Electric hadn't even shipped it yet. But it was supposed to ship on the 16th, and I told her I needed to get here because if it doesn't get here, it's been 11 years of living off of a camp stove, and I'm sick and tired of it. And I said, as soon as it gets here, the first meal that I'm going to cook in it is a Papa Murphy's pizza. It's an oven, by the way, for the cabin, if you haven't figured that out already. Anyway, yesterday afternoon, I'm sitting here on the deck when I got home from work, and I'm kicked back, and I'm looking at messages on YouTube and stuff, and my phone rings, and it's the orange store, and I answer, and I can tell I'm on speakerphone, and I hear everybody kind of giggling in the background, and I said, hello, and the lady says, yeah, is this Sean? And I go, yeah, it is, and she goes, Sean, this is Christine from Home Depot. Order your Papa Murphy's pizza, your stove's here. So I have a stove in the back of my truck, but I have another dilemma. Let me show you. Somehow I got to figure out how to get that thing out of the back of my truck and into the cabin. The plan is I'm going to convert it over. It comes plumbed for natural gas, but it has a conversion kit to propane. Todd has the same stove, and he told me follow the directions. They're pretty intricate, but they're pretty easy, and it'll get you right where you need to be. So I'm going to convert it over tonight. First thing tomorrow morning, I'm going to make a trip into town after I get the measurements of what I need. And then I'll get the gas all hooked up tomorrow. So dinner tomorrow night should be, fingers crossed, Papa Murphy's pizza. And I should have an oven. I'll show it to you when I get it inside. I'll probably show you the dance I'm going to do to try and get it inside. But in the meantime, get the rest of the groceries inside. Bought a ribeye steak for the barbecue for tonight. Got myself an incredible bottle of Zinfandel to go with it. And then I need to figure out how to get this thing moved. So how am I going to get an oven to work when I'm off grid in a cabin? And the simple answer to that is that, generally speaking, you're not. Ovens are, the oven part alone is what requires the electricity. Come on, get out there. And if you buy an off-grid oven, you can add $1,000 to the price of what I paid for this. So I paid $688 with tax and everything right out the door. And this same size oven, made by Unique, which is an off-grid company that produces appliances for off-grid living. Well, that thing would have cost me easily $1,600, so $1,000 more just to have the off-grid moniker on it. So what I got was, it's called a battery ignition range and stove. So it works just off the T-cell batteries for the oven. Alright, if I'm all whited out right now, it's because I messed with the settings to try and get it so you can see it. But 4 burners, 3 standard size, 1 small burner on the top. And most importantly, a full-sized oven. I am very, very excited with this. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's got a broiler down below as well. And like I said, it's a battery ignition unit. So, you know, this unit, this same thing with a Unique label on it, and the off-grid moniker on it would cost $1,000 more than I paid for it. It'd be $1,600, $1,700, and I got it for $688 out the door. Super awesome. I'm going to read the instructions for the conversion. It's got all the parts and pieces here for propane conversion, along with a bunch of other fun stuff to read. So I'm going to go ahead and read all of this. It's do not remove envelope or destroy contents, wiring diagrams, service parts, information enclosed. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the back of the stove so I don't lose it. This is a full-size bad boy. I've been working off of 2 burners for 11 years, and I'm not going to be doing that anymore, thank goodness. All right, let me go ahead and read the instructions, see what I got to do to convert this over. Okay, a ton of little parts and a bunch of instructions. Let's see if we can't get this thing converted over to propane. I'm going to do step by step, make sure that we can get it all done. Oh, I'm not going to lie, that was a pain in the neck. That was an absolute pain in the patukas. But it is all converted to propane and ready to be connected. We'll get the burners on there. Way too many small parts. Way too many small parts. Those. So I have 2 standard burners right here, and then a large burner and a small burner on this side. Okay. read some more on the instructions because I'll have to adjust the flame and everything tomorrow. So there's adjusting the air shutter settings for the oven burner, and then how to adjust your flames to make sure that you're getting a good burn as opposed to a tweaked burn. But it's beautiful, it's ready, and I think we're good to go. Good morning, ladies. How are you? Oh. Okay, so I have a dilemma with how I can do this. And it's the only reason why I have the dilemma is because I already sheetrocked the wall. But this cord comes up like right in the middle of the 2x6s. And that, again, was a temporary issue. That's just the solar panel that's charging up the OPS, and eventually here I'm going to be out of that. I don't have enough room. Excuse me. I don't have enough room between the beam and the outside of the wall to come up on the floor, which is going to be my intention for the rest of the outlets, more than likely, that I'm going to do. So I'm going to go through the wall. So I need to kind of I'm going to do a temporary setup today, and it is going to be temporary with the intent of changing it over before winter hits, because I don't have the box built. I don't have the big tanks yet for that I want to have for propane here, but I'm going to run that half-inch. I'm going to run a half-inch black pipe basically from here or here. This is about where the stove would be, I believe. So I'm going to run that black pipe from here all the way to the front. And the reason why I'm going to put my propane bottles in the front of the cabin are twofold. Number one, if I put them over here, as I get all the snow shed off the roof, this gets icy, slick, nasty, and we got a ton of snow here, right? It piles up and then it starts to kind of work its way back this way. So it's not going to be very safe to be grabbing these bigger propane bottles and moving them to the truck. Whereas if I build a rack up towards the front, I could just back the truck right up, take the propane bottle, roll it right into the back of the truck and go fill it up. I have a dual tank regulator. And this thing is super cool because when it's pointed at this tank, if this tank runs out of propane, it automatically switches over to this tank. And then you'll get this red glow in here, which is what it's got right now, saying, hey, this tank's empty. So then you take it and you switch it back over to that side, to the good tank, and it'll go green. You can disconnect this tank and go fill it up. So that way I'll always know where I'm at. If you run this in the middle, it will draw from both tanks at the same time, which I could never understand why anybody would do that. That shouldn't even be a setting on here. So, I think what I could do is, I could mount this. I can mount this right here for now. Put one of the regular propane bottles down here. Run another piece up from here. And then punch a hole through the wall. The piece that's going to go through the wall will stay there. It will be a permanent piece. So more than likely what I'll do is I'll put a T-fitting on the end of this pipe. When I run the half-inch pipe down through here, I'll put a T-fitting on here. And then I'm going to continue this pipe across the floor with another T-fitting going back to where the on-demand water heater is going to be. And the pipe will end at the other end of the other side of the building, where I'll have a propane, a vented propane heater that I'm going to use for backup during the winter. I'll run a thermostat upstairs. I'll set the thermostat to 60 degrees. And then that way, if the wood stove goes down while I'm at work, because I'm gone 12 plus hours a day, the wood stove will go down. So I won't come home to a cold house. That will at least keep the chill off. Then when I fire up the wood stove and restoke the wood stove and get everything going again, that'll automatically shut back down again. But it'll just be a nice thing to have for backup. So that's going to be the eventual goal. Half-inch pipe with a T going up to here. And then pipe taken off across the floor here, with another tee going out to the back wall in the pantry where I'm going to have the on-demand water heater. And then the piece that's going directly across is going to be eventually for the direct vent propane heater on the other side. So the whole place will be plumbed when it's done. As for the on-demand water heater, that one I'll probably bring right up through the floor because I can do that still. I have the wall open back there. But I'll probably run into the same issue on the other side because, well, I could probably bring that one up also because I don't have that wall closed in yet. This is the only one that's going to be an issue. So the piece that's going through the wall will never change. It will always stay the same. I'm going to kind of put a list together in my head and then head to town and go get that stuff. Ladies, did you understand what I just explained? Did that make sense to you on a cosmic level? Yeah? You guys got all kinds of treats yesterday, didn't you? Right. Off into public. I got a pretty good idea of the parts I'm going to need. Which means I'm going to need, I'll probably buy more than I need right now. Just because. Since I live off grid doesn't mean I need to smell like a caveman, right? My odor of choice. Stetson, I've been wearing that for years. It's overcast and gloomy and gray today. So I had intended fully on cooking that pizza tonight because I was going to cook a ribeye for dinner last night. I want to hit my solar panel. But by the time I got done converting everything over, all I wanted was a beer, and it was like 7:30, and I'm like, I'm not eating dinner that late. I was in bed at 10, but I'm not eating dinner at 7:30 at night. So tonight will be a ribeye steak that I picked up yesterday, and then tomorrow will be. I might get some garlic bread today. I could do that. Tonight will be a ribeye steak, and then tomorrow will be pizza. Pizza for dinner on Sunday night. That sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty yummy. Just garlic bread just hit me. I can make garlic bread again. This has been a long time coming, I'll tell you what. This has been a long, long time coming. Show you how nasty it is out here right now. We're not expecting rain. It's supposed to be clear today, or it's supposed to be dry today and dry tomorrow, but man, I want the sun back. Right? Look at that. At 7:30 in the morning, we'll stop off at Mickey D's and get a couple of muffins and a cup of coffee on my way in. I am not a plumber. My brother is. But I just got that bag right there. And that bag right there cost me $126.58, which is crazy. But I got a lot of doubles. I got a lot of stuff that I thought, well, if that doesn't work, I'll need this. If that doesn't work, I'll need that. And with everything that I just purchased, like I said, it's going to be a temporary setup for me as far as I'm going to move the propane bottles to the front of the cabin. But so that means that when I do that final move of everything to the front of the cabin and then I go with long pipe, then it'll change out a bit and I'll have some extra pieces to do the future projects as well. But yeah. You want to feel like an idiot? Stand in the plumbing aisle when you're not a plumber and try and find the parts you think you're going to need. I'm sitting there laying it out in the shopping cart. Okay, this is going to connect to that. It's going to connect to this, and I need to connect to that. And I just hope I have. I just hope I have all the proper measurements on everything that I got to make this work. So we'll see. Okay, we're back from the orange store, and one of the things that just frustrates the heck out of me is the logic in construction. And I get some of it, but there's other parts that I'm like, that makes no sense to me. You know, for example, why does everything have to be 50 million sizes? I don't get that. I do not get it at all. what we've got here is we've got two different things that I'm working on, outside and inside. So this pipe is going to go through the wall. I got a 12-inch, which will be more than enough to go all the way through the wall. Give me a stub sitting out back. On that will be a valve, and then from that valve will be, I'm sure everybody's seen one of these. I got a 48-inch or 4-foot length coiled flexible tubing, so that way you can pull the stove out and you can clean back behind it, right? So this is pretty straightforward. Where it gets a little bit twisted is this is the gas supply, and I need to go from a 3/8 inch to a 1/2 inch because this is a 1/2 inch. So I've chosen to get a stub, right, that'll allow me to extend this out a bit, and then I can go 3/8 to 1/2. I think this should all work. And then 1/2 to 1/2 when I get up there and when I need to. So we're gonna go ahead and try and put some of this together and see what we come up with. And I'm gonna look at my phone and find out who's messaging me all morning long. Also, on all my connections, I discussed this, I think, when I was in the truck, but I went with this Blue Monster PTFE thread tape. This is good for gas lines, for propane lines, for natural gas lines. It's just like when you're taping water lines, but this is specially designed for propane, for gas lines. And in the old days, when I've done this in the past, and I haven't done much of this. I mean, I've done, 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch, 3/4 to 3/4, real basic stuff that anybody can do that didn't require any thought. We always used a glue that you basically just took this paste out and rubbed it all the way around and then screwed it in, and it got semi-hardened. But I saw in a video I watched this guy using this tape, and that's the option that I went with. So I'm going to play around with this. I'm going to get this together first so I kind of have an idea what's going on. I'm going to build this entire piece, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what I got. We're going to make sure that all the fittings fit where they need to fit, so I need to make sure that this fits on the back of the stove. If not, I'll be going back to the orange store. I got a couple of pipe wrenches here and a crescent wrench, so I should have all the tools that I need to get this done, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes. First, let's hope this was in fact 3/8. Yes, it was. Okay, so I've got this piece sorted out. So basically the pipe going through the wall, I've got the valve here in the off position, now in the on position. It'll stick out far enough so that I won't have to worry about, that valve not getting in the way. And then this is the piece that'll go into the back of the stove. So then where I think I need another piece is, since this is going to be a temporary connection, like I said, I need to make sure that when I'm done, the propane tanks are going to go right here. And then I'm going to run the steel pipe underneath the, right along with the beams here, so that way they won't have any fluctuation with the weather. So I need to go from this piece to this piece, right? And there's a direction of flow. It actually has little arrows here that say the flow is this way on here. So I've got this sorted, right? So this is a 1/2 inch coupler going to this. Come on, 1/2 inch coupler. And then I still need to go from this to this pipe, which is 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch. And I don't know why I didn't grab another 1/2 inch coupler. So I'm probably going to head to SBS real quick and get another 1/2 inch coupler. And then I can put everything together out here, turn the, leave the gas valve off, open up a propane tank on it, and spray everything down and make sure I don't have any leaks. And then I'll tighten everything down again when I'm done. But for whatever reason, I didn't get another 1/2 inch coupler. So SBS, it's only about, 30-mile round trip to go get one more piece. I'll get better at this. I know I will. I always do. I always seem to figure stuff out eventually. And then I start putting lists together that actually work. But I thought I actually got more parts than I needed. But I've used every part I have in the bag right now. Right. while I'm thinking about it, I should address a comment that came up in last week's video. Last week's video was long. I know that. But I just got so much done, by the time I was done editing, I didn't really want to pull anything out of it. So one of the comments was, my kitchen's dirty and I'm going to get sick. My kitchen's unorganized. It's not really dirty. It's just really unorganized. And with every bit of work that I do in here, the more organized it gets. But in particular, if you leave your mayonnaise out, you're going to get sick when you eat it. This is going to blow your mind, okay? So I was watching a TikTok video, because, you know, that's kind of what I do when I get bored, is I'll turn on TikTok and it just destroys an hour of my day. And one of the things on the TikTok video, or one of the videos I saw, said that you don't have to refrigerate this, right? And then I saw another one afterwards that said, no, actually, if you contact, and this is Best Foods, but on the East Coast it's called Hellmann's, same mayonnaise, just a different name, said, no, you don't have to. So I went and I Googled it. And when I Googled it, on their website, it says you don't have to refrigerate it after you open it, because the acid content is high enough in this to where it stays protected. But even with that said, I had a jar that was like halfway through, and I just threw it on the counter, and I said, okay, I'm going to use it and see if it goes bad. It never went bad. And I, made sure I smelled it and it wasn't off flavors or anything like that, which is crazy because mayonnaise is made from eggs and oil. So it's kind of scary. I don't want to read the ingredients and tell you what else is in here. But yeah, you don't actually need to refrigerate this after you open it. According to Hellmann's and Best Foods, you can leave it in a cool area. By the same token, I wouldn't let it get 100 degrees Fahrenheit, right? Because then you're going to run the risk of it cooking on you. But I was blown away. So yes, you will not get sick on mayonnaise if you leave it on your counter. I don't have a refrigerator. I have the ice chest, and I just don't feel like going out and getting it every time I need it. So I've been leaving it on the counter for the last jar and a half, and I haven't had any issues with it at all. Okay, so I run this thing right about here. Have the pipe come out right there. I think we'll be good to go. I should look, though, and measure. Let me grab a tape measure and measure a couple of 16s off, just to make sure I'm not going to make my first drill right into a stud. All right. So I know that there is a stud right there. So 16, 32. Yeah, I should be right in the middle. I shouldn't have any issues right here. That's 36 feet, 36 inches from the last one. So let's see what we got. All right, so by sliding it back and forth across the floor there, I kept it pretty straight going all the way through. I was going to do a hole saw, but honestly, I don't really think there's a need for a hole saw.
That's beautiful.
All right, so this on this end and that end are both flare fittings, which means they do not get the tape. Because if you tape a flare fitting, it won't seat properly. Let's see what I got here. All right, we're gonna have to pull you out. There we go.
You're bloody well right. You got the bloody right to say yay.
Let's open this up. That should change from red to green. Okay, it changed. It's clear. So now, let's do some spray in there. And then we'll spray up here. Anything? Not seeing any new bubbles coming out. Turn that off. My glasses go in here so I can get a little closer look. Looks like I got that tightened down pretty well. Nothing new down here that I can see coming out. Nothing coming off the end there. I don't see anything down here at all. So let's go check. I sprayed the valve before I came out. We'll go check the valve and see. See how we're doing on this. Nothing there. No leaks. That's a good sign. Okay, I'm going to turn off the propane again. And then I have two things left to do. So I have to tape and seal that piece. And then I have to connect the last yellow cord from the valve to this. And we should have a stove. Okay, there we go. To get this together, I'll go ahead and I'll turn the propane back on again and give it one last test while it's kind of sitting out here on these fittings, and this one here again, just because it kind of twisted a little bit there. So let's get the stove in place. I know that having an oven and a stove seems like such a little thing for most people, but it's been so long since I've had one that it's just such a huge thing for me. Okay. Alright, that is pretty darn tight. So I'm gonna go turn that propane back on again. And then I'll spray these fittings and make sure everything is good before I move anything back. I still have an adjustment left to make on the stove. I have to adjust the airflow for the oven burners, or for the oven burner itself. And I'll get that done today too, so that it will be 100% finished and ready to go. Okay. So that valve is still closed. Put it up, and we'll give it a spray, and we'll see what we got. How's that sound? I don't see anything at all. I don't smell anything at all. Propane is odorless. For those people that didn't know that, the rotten egg smell that you get when you smell propane leaking, that is added to the gas so that you will know that there is a problem. But the propane itself has no smell. I can't see any problems here. I can't believe I might have got this on the first time. It's rather cool. I'm rather proud of myself. Nice. Okay, so we'll shut the valve off again, and then I got to push it in, and I have one other thing to install that I forgot, that the oven won't work unless I have it installed. So as I said before, this oven is a battery ignition oven. So here's the battery, here's the box that it goes into, and it goes right down here. Does it slide right in there? Certainly does. Okay, this should be pretty basic. It's a 9-volt alkaline battery. I always have these around because the speaker on that camera works from a 9-volt alkaline battery. And the box has a slot for the big hole and the little hole on the top. And it's kind of spring-loaded, so it'll stay in there. And then I got to assume it just goes straight up. Let me take a peek in there. Let's see what we got. It is in. So now the last thing that I need to do is adjust that burner on the bottom, but I want to see if the top lights. Let's see what we got. Okay. Oh, I probably turned the gas off, didn't I? I did. Good, Sean. You're being safe. Safe is good. Okay, let's try that again. See what we got. Should be front right burner. Should be rear burner. Should be rear burner. Oh, we got a burner. Look at that. Front burner. Starts right up. Let's go back to the back burner again. I don't know why I'm not getting a burner on that one. There's the front. There's the back. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay. Lights right up. That quick. It's igniting. I love it. All right. Time to retire the camp stove. I'm pretty happy about that. I don't really think, I mean, everybody, you guys are probably out there saying that that's not a big deal. We all have an oven in our place, but I haven't had one 4-burner oven that I could actually cook a turkey or prime rib or anything in since 2013. 11 years. And so even washing dishes using this 2-burner is a pain in the neck. But I'll have no issues at all heating up water for dishes now, keeping a pot warm on the back so that I got my rinse water ready to go. I could clear this out. I could finish the cabinets in here. I'll show you some last minute stuff where my measuring actually paid off, where I actually measured properly, and I'm pretty shocked about it myself. But even more importantly is, so this is it's a white unit, so it'll get dirty easy, right, because it's white. But man, it just brightens up the whole kitchen. Oh, I'll turn these off. Super happy, super happy. Let me show you with the cell phone what I was talking about, where I wanted to make sure I had some spill room on the side. So it's not all the way up against where the cabinet's going to be, but that's going to be the end of the cabinet right there, right? So I still have room to move it over just a tad, but more importantly, I'm completely on the kitchen floor. So if anything kind of spills off the top here, more than likely it's going to end up down here on the floor, and it won't end up on my wood floor. But the wood floor, it's protected anyway, so I can clean it. But yeah, very happy with this. Okay, so the adjustment back at the back there is for the airflow, to make sure that the burners are burning efficiently. So here is me starting the oven, right? There it goes. Looks pretty good. The camera's bringing out a little more orange than I actually see with my eye, so I'm not really upset about that. The tips are actually supposed to be orange anyway, but blue flame, everything's burning, nothing's blowing away from the edge of the burner. I have an oven. It's pizza Sunday night for dinner. It was going to be tonight, but I didn't get a chance to cook my steak last night. Now I'm just laying on the floor, and I have to clean up everything I got in here, and we have to retire the camp stove. I'm pretty satisfied with that idea. Camp stove gone. Out of here. That's one more propane bottle, not my house. I love it. I love it. That's about perfect right there. Holy smokes. Look at that. Yum. I'm going to have dinner. Tonight's libation is blonde ale from Talkeetna Brewing Company. Well, Denali Brewing in Talkeetna, Alaska. And it's their blonde ale called Mother Ale. And it's yummy. So I'm going to have that while I have a steak for dinner. Ugh. I think that in itself is worth it. All right, I think we're going to need a little light on the situation here. Oh. Let's see what we got. Where did I put it? Didn't dig out my oven mitt. Forgot where I had it. Oh my gosh, that looks beautiful. Huh? Nice. Oh. I'm gonna eat half this pizza tonight for dinner. Oh my gosh, this is yummy. Anyway, so life has changed for me. Now I have an oven. Now I can start doing some of the stuff I really like to do, all the different baking and everything else. But going forward, I probably won't be buying a pizza because I was shocked. It cost 29 bucks, almost 30 bucks for this pizza. I can make it a whole lot cheaper. So there'll be some pizza dough recipes too. You guys have a fantastic week. I'm Sean in Alaska. I'm going to eat dinner and watch Planet of the Apes. Yum.